I'm Ryan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Pyroscope, which is an open source continuous profiling platform. We started it back at the beginning of 2021 and have been working on how we can help companies, developers debug performance issues in their code and be able to save a bunch more money that they're spending on their cloud bills and stuff like that. Yeah, I found out through the Civo community through kind of through Twitter. I had seen a bunch of posts of people, I guess talking about how useful it was and how quick it was to be able to, spin up a Kubernetes cluster. And in addition to that, I saw that Civo was doing a hackathon. And basically, I came from like a background where we were using often monoliths, and so I hadn't used Kubernetes professionally yet. And so I thought it would be a great opportunity to kind of play around with Kubernetes at this hackathon. And so through that, I joined the Slack community, which I saw was really robust and a lot of people being helpful there. And then did the Civo Academy stuff and kind of went through the learned more about Civo through that. I think the reason I use Civo is just because, put most simply, is because it runs really quickly and you can get, there's a lot of different kind of configuration options and things that you need to do to set up a Kubernetes cluster. And with Civo, it makes that so much simpler. I would much prefer to do it through a UI. Adding applications through the Civo marketplace is, it's just really convenient. And so, that's the part of the actual product that I like the most. We can use it. We use it a couple different ways, but we use it for setting up a test environment for running Pyroscope. We use it for being able to test Kubernetes specific version or Kubernetes specific features for Pyroscope. We can do it with Civo really quickly and kind of iterate on that faster. And it's just really convenient. So what we've used it for is, for example, one of the features that we have for Pyroscope is being able to use pull mode to profile your servers. And so with that, with Kubernetes, it's able to tag certain attributes of your cluster. So things like, pod name or container name or namespace. And it does a lot of those things automatically, when it's working well. But, as we're testing this and as we were building it, we were able to use Civo to be able to make sure that everything was functioning the way that we were expecting it to. And so we use it for that, but then also in using, when we when we spin up a PR, we use Civo as well to spin up a cluster that we can then run tests there, and we can also see a version of sort of a staging version of the code that's in that PR. And this just helps us move way faster and be able to kind of without having to switch your dev environment to each different PR, we can kind of just use these Civo clusters and be able to see what the code looks like before we deploy it. I mean, I think something that that Civo has that I feel like separates it, apart from a lot of other, products or Kubernetes related software out there is that there's the Civo Academy, and honestly, coming from a background where I had to use Kubernetes that extensively, I felt like it was a really kind of practical, targeted approach to learning a lot of Kubernetes concepts that can otherwise be really complicated. And so yeah, I really liked the fact that a lot of time was spent into making sure that you're kind of like eased into the different aspects of it. And so yeah, so that was really nice, and I'm excited to see what other features Civo comes up with in the next year or so. Yeah. I mean, something that's been interesting for us, or something that we've been kind of, struggling, playing around with, is like auto scaling. So I think functionality around that would be great to see. Basically, I mean, I guess there's a lot of the kind of typical pain points, but like load balancers, things like that. I think that there's a lot of room for those being a little bit easier to deal with in Kubernetes. And I know Civo has some plans for some stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to, seeing how those go. I mean, yeah, honestly, my experiences with Civo has been much smoother than other cloud providers that I've worked with in the past. There's two different mindsets. Some kind of just like throw you in the deep end and let you figure stuff out. But I really appreciate the fact that Civo has a really big and responsive community, whether that be on Slack or on GitHub when you're submitting stuff to the marketplace or whatever it is. And I think that just, inherently offers just a better experience for when you get stuck or when something's not working the way it's supposed to. I like that Civo is, really, I feel like with Civo, I'm going to be able to figure it out really quickly. Whereas otherwise, it's like you go down these random rabbit holes trying to figure out what went wrong. And I think that just, in the end, is better for everybody.